Well, good morning. It's probably just coming up to 8 o'clock, and yeah, you join me back at Linear Fisheries, round 2. Now, currently stood at the very sort of top end of B1, just between the sort of causeway where I was on my last session, but not actually sort of on the causeway as such, just in the first few swims on the corner. Now, things have changed sort of from yesterday. You can't actually fish from the corner of the causeway all the way around sort of on the far bank, so that whole bank on the opposite side is a no-go today. And B2, it looks like it's got a weed cutting machine on it, some sort of maintenance going on, so yeah, that's currently out of action. So obviously I've arrived, obviously been told the information, and ideally where I wanted to get in sort of was probably the centre of the lake based on what I've seen, but there's probably a good 5 or 6 people down there and pretty much jumped in them straight away, which has kind of left me with either end of the lake. Now, I chucked a bucket in this swim and just took a walk all the way down to the far end, the very sort of first corner peg right down on the far end, and I've just been watching the water really for the last hour. But to be quite honest, I've not really seen a great deal, nothing at all. So I don't really know what to do at the moment. I'm in no rush to get the rods out. It would be good just to see something, just to have an idea about sort of, you know, maybe what range they're at, or even just sort of general location of where they are. But obviously I was here yesterday, and you know, they were up this back end, and I'll see a good 4 or 5 shows. Now, just being in this part of the lake might just put me in a good place due to the fact on what I see yesterday. But you know, things change on these big lakes, you know, within a matter of minutes. So where they are at 1 minute might not necessarily mean where they're going to be the next. So yeah, I don't really know what to do at the moment. Part of me saying, well, you can only fish half of the lake, and you're pretty much limited on options at the moment. So part of me saying maybe go look elsewhere, but the only other options are Hardwick and Smiths, St John's or Manor. And what I really wanted to achieve over these sort of couple of yesterday and today was to just try and bag myself a couple of bites. And I thought, if anything, you know, one of the Brasenoses either way would have been the easiest way to bag myself a bite. But yeah, that's could prove a little bit problematic. So I think what I'm going to do just for the next half an hour or so is just keep an eye on the water really. Like I say, I ain't really got many options, to be quite honest. I've probably got like a third of the lake here, the middle third is taken, and then obviously the far end. So it's kind of, what do I do? And like I say, based on the fact that I've seen nothing, I can only really go on what I see yesterday. When I did walk down that far end, there's a slight breeze blowing down there, and it was a little bit on the chilly side compared to up here out the way, just slightly off the back of it. So what I could always do is, you know, I wasn't too sure what I was going to do again as well, baiting wise, just stick to the solid bags, or bait an area, stick 2 rods on it and keep a rover rod. So what I could always do is drop myself into one of these side swims and sort of bait an area between sort of 80 to 100 yards, and then maybe just keep one sort of roving rod and put it over to the areas that I see the fish yesterday. So that's kind of possibly an idea what I was toying with, but at the moment there really is limited options on Brasenose. But like I say, I did feel it was my best chance of a bite over the course of 2 days. So just gonna have to play it out, I think, and see what happens. But like I say, I might just go and get a few bits out of the car, just kind of get them sorted, and keep an eye on the water as I'm doing it, and hopefully something gives itself away. But at the moment, very, very quiet, pretty much like the whole complex all round. So enough of an intro from me. I'm going to grab some bits out of the car, and I'll get back to you sort of in the next hour or so once I know what I'm actually doing. I know I've done it yesterday, but net mat sling, absolutely no harm in going to dip it again. Double safe rather than double sorry. even though it didn't get wet for any other reason than the rain yesterday. I'd say good practice anyway. So I'm just got me net mat sling, dip tank as I showed you, full instructions, gloves. Get all your gear in there, give it a good washing off, and keep Linear nice and safe. When I said that there wasn't anyone up on the sort of causeway area where I was yesterday, there was actually someone there. In fact, it looked like they probably just dropped their stuff off and went and parked up where I parked yesterday. So being able to get into that area again wasn't going to happen. So yeah, I'm in the swim. Rods are out, 2 rods on solid bags, straight out in front, just shy of 100 yards. Now options today are going to be pretty minimal unless I was to literally move lakes. So you know, I could go 2 or 3 pegs that way, you know, one peg that way, or right down the far end. So yeah, options today are pretty minimal. So I said to myself I wasn't going to really probably put out much bait, but I have knocked up a little spod mix, just some corn, pellet and crumb boilie. Keeping it really sort of simple, like these sort of day ticket mixes usually are. And I think what I'm going to do, I've got the 2, like I say, got the 2 solid bags out, just shy of 100 yards. I think what I'm going to do is just put 2 or 3 spoms over the top, and then just give it a couple of hours, and give it another 1 or 2, and just trickle it in little and often, not gung-ho, continually wham, wham, wham. I'm going to just, like I say, trickle it in bit by bit, and hope that just a little bit of bait spurs them on. So yesterday I was chasing shows, you know, I was chasing fish with solid bags that I see show, and nothing materialised. So I guess today I'll just do the flip reverse and try and maybe spur something on with a little bit of bait. But yeah, I'll talk you through, like I say, the spod mix and what I've put in a little while. But I'm going to get 2 or 3 spods out just over the top of these solid bags, and then yeah, probably decide what I'm going to do with the spare rod that is just led down on the floor down there. Swim is a bit of a mess as well, so I could probably do with a little bit of a tidy up. But that's what I'm going to probably do now for the rest of the day, and like I say, just try and maybe work at it and make something happen. So let's get a couple of spoms out and I'll catch up with you in a little while. So very quickly then, before I just put a few spoms out over those 2 solid bags, Linear rules state that you've got to have spom float on your spoms. So they come in a pack of 2, and they just sort of fit down the sort of shaft of the stem there onto the spom itself, and the swivel just poking out the top. Now there are a couple of there's a hack or sort of a modification as such, where you can actually get the spom float sort of inside the spom, but just for ease, take one out of the pack of 2, only a couple of quid, and I think they actually sell them when the bailiffs come round, or even in the shop now, to be quite honest with you. So no reason not to have one. Probably more so that the amount of spoms that they find cracked off at the bottom of the lake with you know, trailing tons of braid and whatever else. These will obviously just help keep them bobbing on the surface and hopefully making their way into the margins where they can be safely retrieved. So yeah, like I say, spom floats, get one on your spom before you start putting your gear out, and you'll just be fishing then nice and safely and effectively in the case of any crack off. So I'm going to get a few spoms out now and think about what I want to do with this 3rd rod. is just got some corn in there, also some pellet, and just give that a good mix around. What I've then done is sort of boiled the kettle and just sort of put half a kettle's worth of sort of water in there. And what that's done is, I don't know if you can see, but it's just made it really creamy, gloopy, and just sort of oozing attraction really. Like I say, there's nothing really, anything too heavy in there. We all know carp love to get their heads down on the corn, and like I say, with the sort of oils and sort of attraction and the creaminess from the pellets just sort of clouding up and dispersing whilst it's down on the lake bed, hopefully, like I say, that's a sort of, you know, what I'm trying to achieve with that mix. Like I say, it's not crammed full of boilies or this or that, anything too bulky or heavy. Like I say, it's just a case of drawing them in and trying to get them down onto the mix. So like I say, it's corn in there and pellets, basic corn, pellet, and sorry, there is boilie in there, but it's been squeezed down pretty much into a crumb. So pellet wise, gone for the Cremino pellets. Now if you can see, they're sort of like pellet sticks, but they where they're obviously brittle and, you know, hardish, you can just get them in your hands and just crunch them up, and they're obviously all different sizes in there. So like I say, if you just get a handful, just crunch them in your hands. There'll be sort of longer ones, shorter ones, that sort of thing. So you know, they'll break down at sort of different rates. But yeah, I've put sort of 2 good scoopings of that in there. Like I say, you've broken them all down, and with that hot water, mixing it around, like I say, that's gonna soften them up much quicker than they would if they were just sort of out on the lake bed. So next up, I've got some matching boilies, the shelf lives. Like I say, I haven't put these in whole. I didn't want big bits and pieces in the mix. I just wanted, like I say, it to just ooze attraction and just sort of use it as a sort of a drawing in onto where the 2 solid bags are sort of situated just shy of 100 yards. Now boilies wise, they're so soft you can literally squeeze them down in your fingers, no problem at all. These are the shelf lives, and with very little resistance, they literally just crumble up into dust. So all I've done there is just got another, like I say, another handful, and just squeeze them down into the bucket. You know, there's little chops and bits and pieces there, all different little sizes, that just flutter down, create a nice little carpet, and just add to that attraction levels, and just kind of add to the creaminess and the cloudiness to the mix really. So all I've done, like I say, is just got that in there, give it a good mix around, and it is just literally gloopy and stodgy, but hopefully Mr. Carp likes the look of it and gets their head down, so fingers crossed that little mix works. But you know, if I was a fish, I'd eat it. It looks and smells absolutely lovely, so I'm going to get a couple more spoms out on that long spot, and yeah, fingers crossed we can entice something to happen. So very quickly then, I'll talk to you about the importance of a spom float. I'm going to just talk to you about the importance of a finger stool. Now there's many on the market, ones that you just slip over your sort of forefinger, ones like so that you can wrap around your wrist. I find these ones a little bit more comfortable, they don't slip, and you can get them sort of nice and tight around your wrist when you're going to go and punch out that spawn. Now, you know, when these are full up, this is a medium one, it can be quite a weight, and you know, if you're using even the large ones, that is quite a hefty sort of weight to be launching out anywhere near sort of at least 100 yards. And without one of these, when you're casting out this braid, you are going to start to slit up the inside of your forefingers. You know, the force that you're going to need to punch out one of these full of that bucket of bait, you know, it's going to start to wear down the skin on your fingers, and that braid will easily slice through, you know, the little creases in your finger, and yeah, that will be very, very painful to say the least. You know, if you're doing short range casting, not so much of an issue, but like I say, when you're fishing sort of, you know, anything past 40-50 yards, you probably really do want to get yourselves one of these. It don't cost a lot, less than a tenner, but yeah, they'll save you the agony of shredding up the skin on your fingers, and like I say, keep you nice and safe when you're punching out this spawn. So yeah, have a look at getting yourself a finger stool, less than a tenner. Massively important when you're going to be spodding out at distance and at range. So I'm going to get some of this out and hope it brings us a fish. Well, as you can see, the car is loaded. Well, I wouldn't call it loaded. Everything is chucked in, should I say, into the car. Now, it's probably coming up to around 2 o'clock, and just been down for a walk right down the other far end, because I was just not feeling it sort of at this end. I've seen nothing all session. At least yesterday I'd seen a number of shows, and it gave me some hope that fish were in the area, but at the moment it's been absolutely zero to work with. I've not really left much bait behind. You know, I put 3 spoms out at the start when I very first got the rods out first thing this morning, and I put 2 spoms out just around sort of lunchtime, and yeah, not even just a little bit of bait trickling through the water. It's sort of spurred on any action. So like I say, it's coming up to 2 o'clock, got about 3.5 hours left, and I feel like if I don't go down there for the last few hours and just chuck 3 solid bags out, you know, I'm going to probably be kicking myself that I at least didn't go and give it a go down there, rather than just sitting it out and hoping that it might happen. Just going to go down there and see if I can maybe force something to happen. Well, like I say, I've only been down there for like half an hour just watching the water, and I didn't see anything whilst I was down there. Pretty much like I've not seen anything throughout the lake, to be fair. So you know, like I say, it's an opportunity that I might as well go and sit down there for a few hours and know that at least I tried to make a move. And it's an area of the lake where there aren't actually any lines, where obviously this end there's the best part of 9 lines, and obviously through that middle section probably the best part of what, 15 lines if everyone's got 3 rods. So you know, it's a third of the lake with no pressure in it. So who knows, got to go and give it a go. Like I say, I'll be kicking myself if I didn't get down there and like I say, at least chuck 3 rods out for the sake of a few hours. So I'm going to shut up now, let's get ourselves down there, try and beat this rain, get the rods out, and yeah, keep everything crossed that I can finally just nick myself a fish over this session. So let's get a move on. That's what I've got to look at. I think I'm just going to fan some solid bags around at different distances and just try and nick a bite. That's all I want. Just want to nick a bite. Like I say, I've not seen anything since I've been down here when I've popped down just to have a look. But it's got to be worth a go. It's a change of scenery for a few hours. I'd be kicking myself if I didn't come down and just, like I say, chuck a few bags out and try and make something happen. So pod's on the floor. I've got the rods just stood up in the back of the car. I can just work out the back of the boot, keep everything out of the way, because I think we're due some rain this afternoon, and I can just stand out, watch the water, keep everything else dry, and just hope that one of the rods rips off. So yeah, enough talking, let's get these rods out and try and make something happen. Well, as you can see, 1, 2, 3 rods have gone out. Just kind of fanned them from left to right. 3 different colour hook baits, white, pink, yellow, all injected with oil. And yeah, it's, like I say, it's last chance saloon really. Done all I can. Like I say, I haven't seen anything all the way up there. I haven't really seen anything down here. So who knows? There's no options to move over the other side, no options to move in the middle. So can only give it a go. What's the time? Time is, so yeah, just before 3 o'clock. So just gonna have to wait and see really to see what happens. But 10 minutes in the right place could change your result from sort of 10 hours in the wrong place. So it's just gonna have to be a bit of wait and suck it and see really, and wait and see what happens. What I'm gonna do though is get a brew out, get the brew bag out, because I am absolutely gagging for a coffee. So let's hope something out there fancies a little munch on one of my solid bags, and I can just nick one fish for my efforts over the last couple of days. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go and get the kettle on. I'll catch up with you very soon. As you can see, I've resorted to just sitting in the car for the last hour of the session. Typically the rain started to move in, and there's absolutely no way that I will be putting up my brolly to get absolutely drenched through, because means of drying it off at home are pretty awkward to say the least. So I've just whipped the car around, and yeah, just gonna sit right at the just at the back of the swim, window down, watching the rods. It means I can't really watch the water, but to be quite honest, I've been watching the water all day and I've not seen a dicky bird. So yeah, watching the water for the last hour really probably isn't going to change much, to be quite honest. The rods are out, they're staying out. Obviously I'm not going to be moving them, anything like that. So yeah, what will be for this last hour. So I'm just going to keep myself dry, keep everything else dry in the like I say, in the car. Managed to get everything packed away neatly and tidy just whilst I've been sort of like pottering around at the back of the swim. And yeah, fingers crossed this last hour rewards us with something for the last 2 days worth of effort. So for now I'll leave it there, and I will catch up with you just before leaving if nothing happens. Fingers crossed it does. Unfortunately nothing happened over that last hour. The rain just got heavier and heavier, and I'm really glad that I just stayed put in the car, because yeah, I would be drenched through right now. Sorry there hasn't been any fish action over the last couple of days. I have tried to make something happen, moving on to the fish on the first day, and just trying to move to the opposite end of the lake today, just to see if I can, you know, nick a fish or nick a bite somewhere. But yeah, it just wasn't meant to be. It's been nice just to come down to Linear Fisheries. I don't normally get to fish it, so yeah, it's nice to just get down and try somewhere new, to be quite honest with you. You know, it's you've got to be in it to win it, and it's certainly been that. So I've tried, not succeeded, but I will certainly be back again sometime soon, hopefully, to give it another go. For those of you that have watched the video, well, I'll say watched both videos, then yeah, thanks for tuning in. Sorry it's had no fishy content, but I hope you've enjoyed following my journey over the last couple of days. But for now, like I say, I really need to get on the road, get out the gates and get myself home into a nice hot shower. I will catch up with you guys soon on my next adventure, and stay safe. And like I say, anytime that you want to come and chat over on my social media, get in touch. I'm more than happy to chat to you guys. Stick any comments in below for any feedback, and yeah, I'm more than happy to hear what you guys have got to say. Thanks again, stay safe, and I'll see you next time I am out on the bank.